Gentlemen, these are the top fragrances from this year. Now, when it comes to fresh and clean fragrances, this is one of the biggest categories for men because it's one of the best sellers. And I'm gonna go with one of the best selling fragrances since 1994, made by Giorgio Armani. And you guys guess it? Yeah, that's Acqua di Gio. Now, do we wanna go with the old classic Acqua di Gio? Now, let's move it up. Let's go with the brand new Parfum. Now, again, nothing wrong with the original, although some of you guys may feel it's a bit dated. What I like about the Parfum, they made it a bit more modern, a little bit smokier. Yes, they got rid of my favorite Profumo, but this one is decent. It's not amazing, but I think it is solid, and who knows, on your skin, it could be amazing. Now, as you can probably tell, this is not my favorite in the Acqua di Gio line. That being said, it's still a great fragrance. Mass appealing. So many people love it. And I did say, hey, get it on your skin. You may find that it's great. I think it's too close to the original, maybe with a little bit more pepper and a drier dry down. But for me, it's going to be the Profondo. But I bet a lot of you guys wouldn't like this one. Why? Because the aquatic notes are stronger. And I'm going to say that probably this one isn't as versatile, hence why I put this one on the list. Next up, we've got a blue fragrance. Now, blue fragrances feature a very fresh scent category with marine, ozonic, and aquatic accords. And there's a few that dominate in this niche. And what I find are different houses come in and they create a whole line. Yves Saint Laurent did this with Y, and they smell very similar. They are incredibly versatile. You can wear them in almost any situation, but for some reason, I think it's just, there's something about them that some people don't like. Other people love them. So I do recommend, because most of these you can find in box stores, do get your nose on it. But if you like blue fragrances, you'll find that they're probably some of the most versatile out there. You can dress these up, you can dress them down, you can wear them in a wide variety of situations. I would not recommend buying multiple in this particular line, these flankers, because there seems to be a lot of overlap here. And we see that same overlap in the most popular fragrance on the planet, which is Dior's Sauvage. So if you haven't smelled Dior Sauvage, you probably have, because so many guys wear this, and they wear it for good reason, because it gets compliments. It's a solid fragrance, but it is going to be in the blue category, incredibly versatile, designer. If you're looking for a slight variation, maybe consider the Eau de Parfum. I don't think it makes that much of a difference. It's hard to pick up. The Parfum, it is smoother, cleaner. I really do like this one, but I'm not going to make it my number one choice. And as many of you guys could have guessed, the fragrance I'm talking about is Chanel's Bleu de Chanel. This is the one that started the blue trend. It came out and it was groundbreaking. There was nothing else like this. And to this day, it is still the OG of the blue fragrances and is just beautiful. And if for some reason you're like, this thing's been out too long, since 2010, I want something newer, then check out the Eau de Parfum or the Parfum. Either one of these would be a great substitute. There isn't really that much of a difference. I do think the Eau de Toilette lasts longer than either one of these, but I do think the Parfum is a bit smoother, doesn't have as much citrus. But if I had to recommend one, I would go with the Eau de Toilette. Next up, let's talk about the House of Valentino. This house doesn't get a lot of recognition, I think, here in the United States, at least from the average guy. And part of that may be that you find these mostly in the women's section. And when you do find them in the men's section, all the bottles pretty much look the same. Guys, come on, marketing departments of these fragrance companies, get it together. But when it comes to putting out good juice, their fragrances are solid. Uomo right here came out in 2014. This thing gets tons of solid reviews online. That being said, since 2019, they've been focused on their new line, They're Born in Roma. So both of these, the Intense and the Coral Fantasy, these are good fragrances. They're going to be more geared towards the winter, but they're not going to be the ones I would recommend that you grab from this collection. Now, Valentino Uomo's Born in Rome Yellow Dream, I almost recommend it because it is a solid fragrance, and with a really weird name. What's up with that thing? But no, I'm going to go with their original Born in Rome, the one that came out first in 2019, because this one is just so versatile and is a great, really just a lot of people describe this scent as magical. And I also like recommending this one because it totally flies under the radar to most people. They just walk right past it, and it is a solid pick. Could easily become your go-to signature scent, the only fragrance that you wear. Now, this next fragrance totally surprised me when I picked it up just a couple weeks ago. It's brand new, and that is Coach's New Green. I wasn't expecting much from this fragrance, but I put on a few sprays. One, it had more projection and power than I expected, especially for a green colored fragrance like this, but it was the kiwi note at the top. That's the reason it's on this list, because as soon as my wife smelled it, she's like, man, you smell really good, which for a guy that wears different fragrances every day is a great compliment. Now, don't let the moss turn you off. The moss is actually there for longevity and helps the fragrance to project, which now makes sense. Very attractive. It's an aromatic, just a really nice, warmer weather fragrance. This isn't something you want to wear during the winter, but I like it because it's exactly what it is, and it's a Coach fragrance, so it's relatively easy to find. Now, this next fragrance house is well known for making fragrances that are easy to wear, mass appealing, and relatively affordable. And in this case, they did a great job reviving a classic fragrance that most men have never even smelled. The fragrance I'm talking about is the new release by Mont Blanc, Explore Platinum. Now, for me, this is a floral barbershop fragrance with a bit of a metallic note. I think it's a fresh, sweet, classy fragrance. And interestingly, it's being compared to Chanel's Egoist Platinum. This is the fragrance released over 30 years ago. I can see where the similarities, they got very similar notes. Do they smell exactly the same? No, but this one I think is actually more modern and mass appealing. So for a fall, back to school, or office fragrance, this is a no-brainer. Now, when you think about a fragrance that is sweet, sensual, and often has a playful and edgy twist, only one house comes to mind. Paul Gaultier. This is their new elixir. So the vanilla is the most prominent note, and vanilla, again, is going to be a gourmand. That's why the ladies love it. This one is incredibly strong, and that honey note is there, and once you know to smell for it, it's freaking amazing. This is a solid pick, and what I love about this is it is just sweet. It can be a little bit too cloying, meaning that this is a fragrance that some people in hot weather you just don't want to wear. Other people just feel it's too sweet for a man, but if you like these type of fragrances, this one's getting a lot of hype, and for good reason. It's a solid pick. Now, gents, if you want to grab this fragrance and you want to get the best deal on the web, down in the description of today's video, I'm linking over to Max Aroma. I've got a discount code for you. I've got an affiliate link, so I will make money if you use that link. But Max Aroma has been kind enough to sponsor this video, so I thank them. And they've got a great selection of fragrances. I've been picking up dozens of fragrances over at Max Aroma, and this has actually been for years. And so I was very happy to get this deal with them. And to point out that these guys, what I love is their shipping. And if you're looking for a sample and you don't want to sign up for a subscription, they've got 5 ml samples of some of the most popular fragrances out there. But in any case, if you're looking for any of the fragrances I talked about in today's video, go over to Max Aroma and find the fragrances you are looking for to smell good, to smell amazing. Next up, let's go over to the house of Dolce & Gabbana. I want to talk about Forever, and I want to talk about Italian Love. Now, one thing I didn't like about what this house did is release both of these fragrances within a year of each other because they're very similar. Both of them have an excellent, very realistic grapefruit opening. That being said, if I had to choose one and they were the same price, I'd probably go with Italian Love. I think it has a better dry down, a little bit more versatile. That being said, you're going to find Forever at discounters now, so you can get a really good deal. Smell them both. They're usually both going to be in box stores. But that grapefruit opening, gosh, it is so amazing, and it really just wakes you up. If you've got an early morning workout, this could be the perfect fragrance to get you conditioned to just going out there and getting that run, getting that lift on. Now, on the deeper, richer, more amber side, heavier side, you've got the One. And to this day, so many other deep, heavy, rich fragrances have come out, but Dolce & Gabbana, the One, is still such an easy recommend to a guy just starting his collection. And you're going to see they've got this one. It's an intense version, but it really isn't that intense. I would go with the original or the Eau de Parfum. The Eau de Parfum is going to have a black top, but most likely when you are shopping on Sephora, you're just going to find the original. That being said, again, if you look around, you can find better deals at discounters. Next up, we've got the House of Prada. And when it comes to powdery fragrances, this house rules. You want something soft, you want something with a bit of iris, lavender. These are going to be the fragrances you want to pick up. Now, the two fragrances I'm holding right here, we've got the new Ocean EDP, and we have the old Ocean, which actually isn't that old, just a year ago, the EDT. Now, don't let the name fool you. Neither of these are really oceanic fragrances. I mean, seriously, even the regular Ocean Luna Rossa really doesn't smell like the ocean. There aren't really any oceanic notes. The EDP is going to be heavier, richer, that vanilla, and with the amber. The EDT, on the other hand, is going to be fresher. It's still going to have a bit of sweetness, but it's not going to have that same longevity of 8 hours. You're going to get maybe 6 out of this. That being said, if you can get past the name, either one of these would be a great pick. And what about a fragrance that doesn't seem to have any scent, but still people pick up that you're wearing something? You, for some reason, smell good, especially to the ladies. Gentlemen, that is Molecule 01 by Eccentric Molecules. Now, gents, when this one came out about 15 years ago, it blew people away because it uses ISO E Super. That's basically the only note here. For some people, it smells like a woody smell. What it usually does is amplify other fragrances. So you have a natural smell. This is just going to make you smell a little bit better to those. Now, this fragrance I do not recommend for conditioning, but if you are someone that wants to wear a fragrance because you want to smell good around others, but you don't want to smell like you're projecting really anything but your natural odor because you naturally smell good, well, this would be the one to check out. Next up, let's talk about the fragrance I'm wearing today. Now, my wife knows I'm big into perfumes. I'm constantly wearing and testing different ones, but rarely does she ask me, wow, like, what are you wearing? Especially after I was running. Now, I picked up this fragrance with my own money about 3 years ago, and initially I was lukewarm to it. And that's not because I don't think highly of Parfums de Marley. In fact, anyone that watches any of my other fragrance videos, you know that Carlisle and Leighton, I constantly rank in my top 15 winter fragrances. But see, that's the thing. I was used to Parfums de Marley being heavier, stronger fragrances that you would wear in cooler weather. I mean, Leighton, you could definitely wear it on a cool summer day. Carlisle, though, this is going to be reserved for the colder months. That being said, if you were to force me to choose one Parfum de Marley fragrance that I would recommend blind buy, some guy grab, and most likely he's going to love it, it would be Percival. This is a masculine, classy scent that's incredibly versatile because it reminds people, strangely, of a fragrance that was super popular in the 1990s. Abercrombie and Finch Fierce is the one I'm referring to, but they improved on it by giving it a bit more longevity and projection. Next up, let's talk about the house of Paco Rabanne. So if you want a bottle that screams for attention, this is going to be the house that you want to check out. A lot of people consider this stuff to be tacky. I think that it's a great marketing ploy because people are talking about it. And really, you know, in a crowded market, they're doing a decent job. That being said, there's one in particular that flies under the radar. That fragrance is Paco Rabanne's Phantom Parfum. Now, it's important you don't confuse the Parfum with the original. Obviously, the Parfum is coming in a black bottle, and nothing against the original. It's an interesting release, but it was much more polarizing because I don't think the notes mixed as well. With the Parfum, it's deeper, richer, spicier. We've got a nice vanilla mixed in with the lavender with a bit of spice. That being said, with the vetiver, with that wood, it's not overly sweet, and it has a nice earthy tone that makes it masculine. And I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Don't get hung up on the Phantom bottle. A lot of people think it's tacky. You know, it is what it is. It's actually a decent sprayer. So the juice is solid. And by the way, on that shelf, as I mentioned, there were some other bangers. If, you know, 1 Million Royale or going with the original 1 Million. My point is, I know a lot of you guys have your personal favorites. So if I don't mention it in today's video, guys, put your favorite fragrance in the comments below. Now, what if you want a fragrance that feels a bit more niche? Something that is going to be heavier, deeper, richer, a bit of spice? Then check out Viktor and Rolf's Spicebomb. Now, you're going to see that there are tons of flankers of the original Spicebomb, but the original is still, in my opinion, one of the best options out there. You can go for the extreme version, which I have, and I do understand that it is going to be stronger, a little bit deeper, richer vanilla, but I still love the original. Now, some people are going to argue the night vision version of Spicebomb, and I've got both the Eau de Toilette and the Eau de Parfum, was their equivalent, was their idea of a fresher, greener fragrance. But for me, yeah, you've got apple notes in this and it's a bit sweeter, but it still is a heavy, powerful fragrance that I wouldn't recommend for most men in the summertime. And the infrared, which we're going to see is the flanker with the red, and I know they just came out with a new Eau de Parfum that's going to be stronger, very similar to the original Eau de Toilette, which I have here. This one is going to have more of a spicy, a little bit more of a cinnamon note in it, and that's why I think this one is perfect for the winter. All that being said, if you're relatively new to fragrances, I'm not going to recommend starting off with Spicebomb, but if you've already got 4 to 5 in your collection, you want something different for the majority of fragrances out there, check them out. And next, the House of Hermes, known for sophisticated, understated fragrances that are popular among stylish men valuing quality over flashiness. That being said, if you haven't heard of Hermes or you just want one fragrance that pretty much is the go-to in their line, you need to check out Terre. This one is a masterpiece fragrance. It's got this dirty orange note. Now, don't let that fool you. This thing is a compliment monster. So many guys don't even think to ever pick up this fragrance, and when you do, you're gonna have the ladies coming out of the woodwork giving you compliments. And by the way, if you've got a story related to receiving compliments, I would love to hear it in the comments below. Now, of course, no fragrance list at RMS would be complete without mentioning Tom Ford. As you guys know, I think he makes some of the sexiest fragrances out there, but he also makes some incredibly versatile ones. And that's why I'm gonna bring up great vetiver. This one right here, I love it because it doesn't scream for attention. It is masculine, it's strong, it is classic, it is timeless. That being said, if you want something that's more summer oriented, check out the Costa Azzurra line. So either one of these, and you can find both of these at discounters. This one is just going to be a little bit weaker. This one posted a little bit stronger. I cannot really smell much of a difference. I would maybe because I'm looking for it, this one does last a little bit longer, but this one you can find at such a steeper discount. So I'd probably just grab the eau de parfum. It gets the job done. In any case, the smell, imagine walking through a forest next to the Mediterranean about 10 minutes after you ate a lemon. You got a little bit of that taste in your mouth. You can smell it all coming in, and absolutely beautiful. But for the majority of men that want a signature fragrance that isn't afraid to be masculine and strong, I'm going to recommend the latest Ombre Leather. And I feel it's relatively smooth. The one before this, the eau de parfum, it was a little bit harsher. This one I just find is smoother. And if you're not familiar with leather fragrances, similar to tobacco, to oud, these are going to be harder to wear. But if you smell this, and what I like, you can find these in a lot of box stores. You get your nose on this, you like it, you could easily make this your signature fragrance. And I would highly recommend this if you wanted to grab one fragrance, especially for cooler weather, doesn't get too hot in your area. That being said, don't blind buy. And again, you really need to want a fragrance that is going to have you stand out from the crowd. Now, this next house, I would say, is one of the best deals out there. The house I'm talking about, Versace. Now, let's start things off with one of the most versatile offerings. Dylan Bleu, clean, sexy, versatile, with good longevity. And sticking with that bottle design, let's go to the original, the Pour Homme. Now, in my opinion, this fragrance is really underrated. It's going to get you a lot of compliments. The only issue I have with it is I don't think it lasts that long unless you're wearing it in hot weather. Then it will start to project. But if you want something with a bit more longevity, with more of an aquatic scent to it, something that is almost magical, check out Versace's Man Eau Fraiche. A citrus aromatic woody fragrance with a bit of fruit. This fragrance has a bit more of an uplifting, energizing, just really friendly, and again, I would say magical. Probably one of my favorites in this entire line. Oh, and on a side note, apparently the ladies love this one. Now, at this point, some of you guys are probably saying, Antonio, could you have made this simpler? Just one fragrance to rule them all? Well, boom, I got you covered right here with the one fragrance that rules them all.